Okay, so now we're going to talk about EMDR and the next step. The process of EMDR is to activate the maladaptive network. We activate it and then we apply bilateral stimulation. That's the beeping part. When we do this, the memories change, from implicit to explicit. Basically, they're no longer just running in the background. The maladaptive network links into the adaptive network, which means that that helps then facilitate insights, and it also waters down the effect of the maladaptive neural network. Assuming that's the smaller one, then when the maladaptive network starts to link up to the larger network, then it becomes less volatile and less highly charged. EMDR is not hypnosis, and a lot of hypnosis therapists do EMDR, and that's fine, but it's different. For one thing, we don't induce the trance state, hypnotic suggestions are not made, and it's less directive. So basically, the brain is allowed to find its own way. One of my first insights in doing EMDR that I noticed was that really the brain of the client is doing all the work. I'm really setting it up. I kind of know where to go, what to do. The person, finally, they'll get out, if they're, gets out of their own way. And then we let the brain do the processing, let the brain figure out where it needs to go and what it needs to do. So EMDR is not just a technique. It did start out as a technique, actually, I think. But over time, it's actually turned into a treatment modality. So a treatment modality means that we work within a framework and formulate a plan. So we have a reason why we're asking questions. We have an idea of where we're headed, that kind of thing. We use a specific strategy for treatment. And then we predict certain results. And so if we don't get the results that we think we should get based on the treatment modality, then we change what we're doing. We do it differently. There's different approaches to take. So it's not just a technique. It's done in a regular 50-minute session. That's how I do it. Some people try to do longer sessions, but my personal experience is that it's as effective to do it over a period of sessions than just try to get it all done in one session. We do it with a certain protocol to activate the neural networks, so it's good. And we do talk with people. It's counseling. There is teaching. We're pointing to self-exploration. But this is all done outside of the EMDR protocol. It's important to be aware that the positive results happen outside of this session and are often without awareness that EMDR was the catalyst. What would be different is the WWBD. Well, so we talk about that. And you might sit down now if you're thinking about this or looking at this. If you did EMDR, what would be different in your life? When it works, what's going to be different? Sleep better. Don't get as angry at my kids as much. Maybe I'm able to hear my partner tell me things I need to hear. Not always frustrated with my boss, those kind of things. What would be different? I can take a test without getting too anxious. Just a lot of stuff. We agree on goals. We want to understand what we're working on, so you might set up some goals. And then, when we're successful, how are we going to know it? In the course of treatment, what we do is we want to start with a good personal history. And this is easy to skip over because a lot of times we just want to get going, or I do. But really, we want to get an idea of the person, kind of the background, what's going on in their life. We want to do a calm place or a state change exercise. This is the idea of teaching people how to shift from the maladaptive neural network over to the adaptive one, consciously. Learning how to consciously calm yourself down, even in difficult situations. But also then in the beginning, we're looking for targets, touchstone events, So experiences, so this would be like if there was a major trauma, that would be a target or event. If there was some kind of childhood abuse going, let's say, it might be several events. But we look at those, find usually an early one and a big one. And then at that point, then we'll begin processing. So during the processing, we ask a series of questions. At a certain point, we start the bilateral stimulation, the beeping in the ears and the handheld units. And then I say, focus on your thoughts and feelings while this is going. So we do that for like 30 seconds to a minute. Kind of depends on where we're at. And then and then I'll stop it. And then ask, what do you notice? And then we go again. So, well, let's go with that. And then you go back to here, where we start the bilateral stimulation, focus on thoughts and feelings, do that for a little while, and then ask the question, what do you notice? And then this becomes the session. We're doing this for maybe 30 minutes to 40 minutes. And then it will stop, kind of pull everything together, talk about the experience, and kind of go from there. We continue throughout the session or until the issue is resolved. If it resolves quickly, then we stop. We do revisit a trauma, but it's not relived. So this is an important difference in EMDR and exposure therapies. Exposure therapies, they want you to relive the trauma, which seems kind of counterintuitive to me, but we do revisit it. You think about it, but it's more like you're looking at it out the window. If you're in a train, going down the tracks and you see the scenery, then this is how the trauma then is usually relived with EMDR. Done during regular sessions, and we may do it from session to session. So what it takes then is an intake plus 2 or 3 sessions for the personal history or complex exercise. So in these first 3, sometimes 4 sessions, we're deciding if EMDR is appropriate, how we would use it, what kind of targets, what you can expect to get out of it, and then teach you the complex exercise. And then, like the next session is when we then begin the EMDR processing. A single incident trauma may clear up in one or two sessions. That's after these sessions. It clears up, you know it. You no longer get startled when you drive or that kind of thing. Able to get on an airplane. For long-term or severe trauma, EMDR may take longer. And I don't know that that's always appreciated or understood. What you do there is EMDR, do some counseling, see how life unfolds, something happens, oh, okay, here's another trauma or another emotionally charged memory. We do EMDR on that, live life for a while, and life just keeps unfolding. So here's a way to look at recovery, this chart. This is time across the bottom and emotional maturity this way. The idea here is that if you develop normally, you have just a good old childhood, ride bikes and have fun, then you will develop to this level of emotional maturity. You'll be able to self-soothe yourself, you'll be able to make good decisions, that kind of thing. If, however, there's a trauma happens, then that can knock you off course. And now you're down here having struggles. Getting angry, upset, not sleeping well, little things bother you that you know they shouldn't, those kind of, basically your emotional body is running the show. What happens though is we do EMDR processing here, because now this is where we are in time. So, this happened when you were 5 years old, now you're 30, now you come in and do EMDR processing. We do that for a few times. And then what happens is, it still takes a little time, and this may again be months or years, maybe the rest of your life, who knows, to get back on track to becoming emotionally developed. Socialization needs to happen differently, learning bonding, and then gaining attachment skills. So, and this is then, so if you're a therapist, you might see a target issue that you know is not getting resolved. So you send the client out for EMDR therapy here. Well, they're referred out, they come back to you, and then after the trauma event has been resolved, then they can work with the regular therapist on these other issues. And if one comes up, you just send them out to the EMDR guy. They do a couple sessions of EMDR, and then they come right back. And that's a good treatment model, and I think that's a good way to go. What to do next if this interests you and you think you want to do it? Well, first of all, you're invited to leave a comment on the blog. I'm putting this in a way that you can comment. You can contact me via the form on Compassion Works. So next step, so you contact me on Facebook under Jordan Schaefer. Just send me an invite. And I do have a page called Compassion Today, so that should be easy to find. And you can sign up for that. Also Twitter, Compassion Today, and then LinkedIn, Jordan Schaefer. You can sign up for my daily email called The Daily Now. It's at thedailynow.net. If on the right-hand side column, there's a thing where you sign up. Also, you can sign up on the Compassion Works website. It's this one. You can just call and schedule a session if you want to come in. Let's do it. Now, online sessions may be an option. I don't think it's okay. I can't do it with everybody. Some people have done a lot of the spiritual work, basically the Michael Brown work, but they're not getting the results they think they should. And the reason I think is that you're not hitting on the amygdala. You're not doing the midbrain work. So if we do EMDR on that, then that helps. I do free isogenics counseling if you want to learn how to lose weight and feel great with isogenics. I'm glad to help you with that. And then I'm working on a bookstore, and so you can go there and see what's available. If you're interested in doing EMDR, but you want to find a local therapist, then you would go here to EMDRIA. It's emdria.org, or to emdr.com, and go to the therapist finder and find one, and that would be good. If you want to do EMDR and go to an EMDR therapist, it's important to know that just because someone is on an EMDR website saying they do EMDR doesn't mean they do EMDR. It means they've been trained, and there's different kinds of training. And the training, so you want somebody who's trained either by EMDRIA, EMDRIA, or the EMDR Institute. And they would be on those websites. So now the questions you might ask, just ask them basically how often they do EMDR, how much do you actually use it in a session. I do it about 85% of the time with clients. Really most issues we do EMDR. And then also you might ask what type of issues they use it on. If they only do it for major trauma, then that may not be what you want, because it helps on a wider variety of issues. So those are just the kind of things you ask when you go to the therapist, and it can happen where you end up going there for 2 or 3 months and you still don't get to the EMDR. Then that's a problem, and you discuss it with them. You're also welcome to contact me and ask me. I'm not so busy I can't answer questions. I am the North Texas Regional Coordinator. I bet that says coordinator under there if we can find it. Which is because of my level of interest. I am an approved consultant in EMDR, which means I can consult with your therapist, with your EMDR therapist, on helping find targets, on an approach. I'm glad to do that. I'm also certified in EMDR. Well, if you've made it through this far in the presentation, I appreciate your watching. If there's any questions, any concerns you have, please feel free to contact me. I'm available to talk. Otherwise, I hope you do well. And if you're a client, I'll see you in a few days. Talk to you later. Bye.